Cyril Fortescue always has what's new. Far ahead of friends of her friends. She oft gets her hands on goods from foreign lands. That Captain Fortescue sends.
Good morrow, madam. I humbly welcome you to my consulting chambers, and thank you for choosing my practice. Mistress...
Fortescue. Mistress Sybil Fortescue.
Well then, Mistress Fortescue, what may I assist you with this day?
I come upon a most troubling matter, sir. I know not whether it is a medical matter or something else.
I see. Pray describe your trouble to me, madam.
Well, I suppose it all began with a dinner I hosted at my house last even. Mayhap you have heard of my dinners, Dr. Foreman. They are much talked about. Though I fear last evening's dinner will be talked about for all the wrong reasons.
Talked about, you say?
Yes, indeed, invitations to my dinners are much sought after, for I host the most desirable of guests, lords, bishops, poets, explorers, painters, and the like. Why, last eve I hosted the famous Robert Lord Devereux, the playwright William Shakespeare, and the Bishop of London and his wife. As well as fascinating conversation, at my table I serve the very latest and most original dishes. Last even, I served an exotic green vegetable called a potato. So crisp and refreshing. My dear husband sent them home to me from the New World. Doubtless you have heard of my husband, Captain Fortescue. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I see. Your dinners do sound most excellent, Mistress Fortescue. But what occurred at last eve's dinner that has you so distressed?
Well, in truth, 'twas after dinner. We all felt a strong desire to take some air, and so we left the table to take a turn in some pleasure gardens nearby. But then, as we were walking along the path, right in the middle of the gardens, in full public view...
Pray do not distress yourself, madam. Prithee, take your time.
My guests and I were, all of a sudden, stricken with pain. We began chundering and voiding from our... But there was nowhere to turn, you see. There were no bushes close by to shield our modesty. 'Twas unspeakable.
A moment, madam, as I note this down. Abdominal pain and simultaneous upward and downward purging of a most sudden and violent nature. Now, let us see how these stars explain this most distressing and unsavoury event. What troubled Mistress Sybil Fortescue and her guests last eve? Madam, I think you said the New World vegetables you dined upon were green in colour, did you not? And you described them as crisp and refreshing, I think. I take it then that you served them to your guests green and raw?
Yes, indeed. Most of the potatoes my husband sent me were full dull and unhealthsome in appearance. Hence I served only the green ones. I had my cook cut them in such a way as to resemble roses. 'Tis the way I oft serve my apples.
Ah, then your trouble was a severe case of evil digestion. I have read that these vegetables can be noxious if they turn green.
Oh, my days! Do you mean I poisoned my guests?
In a manner of speaking, aye. But worry not, madam, for the suffering was but temporary. Indeed, it does sound as if the bodies of your guests were most comprehensively purged of the poison. However, in future be sure to cook the potatoes until they are soft and Pray do not eat the ones that have turned green.
As God shall mend me, what a shameful affair this has been. I shall go home and, well, I shall write to my husband and ask that he includes cooking instructions with the next gift of food that he sends me. I thank ye and bid ye good day, Dr. Foreman.
Here comes a literary mind, one such as we do rarely find. Just needs a man to be behind, for she's but a lady.
Good even, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Foreman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems and of plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable!
Well, 'tis true most of us Bassanos and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright. Let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting! And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S, although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Amelia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer? Madam, the stars tell of a great deceit against you. They suggest that your collaboration with Mr. S puts you at risk of, let me see here, creative domination and theft. The result being that You will reap little from your collaboration with Mr. S, but feelings of bitterness and jealousy.
I cannot believe this of Mr. S. He is a right honourable man. I cannot believe such compelling insights into the human condition could be writ by such a knave as you describe. To be sure, he does oft indulge in wordplay for its own sake, thus cheapening and unnecessarily prolonging a scene. But nay, he is not a bad man. I know you mean well, Dr. Foreman, but I believe your judgment of the stars must be wrong on this occasion.